Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start wiring up the front end. We're going to go ahead and wire the front end. Like I said previously, I already have the motor wired in, so now we're going to go ahead and wire this in. So we want to go ahead. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut off all the wire ties that we put on there to fish our wires through. Get them all loose. Be careful not to tangle them all up though, because that will make it harder on us. So then we're going to trace our wires down and see where they go. So okay, so you want to trace your wires down, and what you're going to find is 2 brown wires. Okay, those are your park lights. So take one wire, it doesn't matter which side these go on, but basically the shorter one would be common, that it goes on the left side where your wire harness is. And then you want to go ahead. Then we're going to have 2 tan wires. That's going to be your low beam wires. So go ahead and pull the shortest one out of the bundle here. Put it over here with your park lights. Okay, that's your low beam headlight light. Take the other one. Then you're going to find 2 green wires the same color. That's your high beam light. So you want to go ahead and find the short one. Wrap it with the left side. Take the longer one and do the same thing. So then we got those ones. If you notice, all my wires are starting to get untangled. See what I'm talking about, cameraman? Yep. It's starting to look a lot cleaner, isn't it? All our spaghetti's laying on the ground now.
It's like a little salad.
Now we got a light blue one and a dark blue one. And what these are for are your turn signals. Okay? So read the script that's wrote on the wire and find out which one's the left one, which will be the light blue one. Pull it through. It's going to be, you don't even need to really pull it through. See if it's shorter. Go ahead and measure it out. Cut it off. So we got our left turn signal over here, which is the light blue wire. Then we got our dark blue wire, which is going to be our right turn signal. Pull your wires through. And now we're starting to get organized. See, that's the main plan here, is to be organized when you're doing this. That's what we're really trying to do. The better the organization is and thinking your situation out, the better it's going to work. Now this particular wire right here, which is a gray one, that's for your fan. Okay? We'll just leave that hang down here. And this one here is an important wire. This is for our horn. So what I'm going to do with that horn wire is I'm going to get it out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and roll it up because we don't have our horn yet. And I'm just going to stick it right here so it's out of the way. I'm just going to stick it right up in here. Just kind of keep it out of the way. And the same with the fan wire. We're not going to use that right. Now, we don't see a mess of spaghetti wires there. Do you see how clean that looks now that we got all our wires organized? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep one of these dark brown wires, okay? And the reason I'm going to do that, okay, is because I'm going to use one of the dark brown wires for a ground wire.
Okay.
The first thing we need to do before we start hooking our wires up is we need to get our ground wire on the vehicle. And what you want to do is you want to use proper butt connectors. I use the ALOT style. Okay, instead of making 2 separate ground wires going everywhere, I'm going to make 1 ground wire out of 2. So I've already lined out my wires to see how long I need them, because our headlight's going to be up in this hole here, and our turn signals are over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, strip my wires, and this is very important. Take your time to twist the wire, because we don't want no frayed wires sticking out that are going to touch anything else. You take your 1 butt connector, twist your wires together, and go ahead and crimp those just like that. Now, what I just did there is I made me a nice ground for my headlights and my park lights all in one. So that's going to give us a nice clean finish. I need to put my ground wire on. If I can find my air hose, I don't need that. Jimmy, thank you. What I use to install the ground wires is I use a self-tapping screw, like such. I go ahead and I get that screwed on there where I'm going to put my ground wire. Okay.
Not a lot of light.
I unscrew it. And I go ahead and put my ground wire on. Now, what I did previously to this vehicle in a previous video is I went ahead and installed the LED lighting. If you'd like to do that, look at one of my other videos and it'll show you how to do that. But what we got here is I gotta run this wiring across the fender and down. Now, for me to put wire loom on that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these wires in a stair-step motion. So I see that my ground wire, I'm going to get 3 butt connectors. I'm going to go ahead and put the butt connectors on the wires. Ken, you don't have to get that close. The first wire is our black wire. That's pretty common. We know that's a ground wire. We go ahead and strip that off the ground loom that we made. And on this wire, it's a little thicker. I'm going to go ahead and twist that. We'll go ahead and hook up our ground wire, just like so. Signal wire, and I know from the directions that I read that the yellow wire will be the brightest of our LEDs, so that is the wire that we will hook up. The next and last final wire on our turn signals is going to be our park lights. So we go ahead and cut the wire on that, strip the wire, I'm sorry, give it a little twist, put it into the butt connector. Make sure that it's got a good connection on your wire. And those are wired up. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of wire loom. Now, only on LEDs this is required. If you're going to put the street beast lights or any other type of light, this bracket is supplied on the frame, and that's where your turn signal lens will go. Your turn signal park light will go. So I'm going to take some wire loom and I'm going to basically run my wires through there just like this. I'm going to get the wire loom right in there, just like that. Once I get it down to the proper length that I want, I go ahead and cut it off. I'll go ahead and glue this with my 2-part epoxy glue that I have, and it will be glued nice and tight to the inner fender, just like you see there. To secure that these will stay on here, I always take a wire tie, and I wire tie the ends. And you want to go ahead and cover as much of that wire as possible. And I wire tie the ends nice and tight. We won't wire tie this end yet because we're really not done with it. That's why I won't glue it on until later. And then cut your wire tie off right at the lock of the wire tie. Final and last thing that we need to do to wire our front end up at this time is measure out our headlight wires, which consists of our ground wire, our high beam, and our low beam. And just go ahead, take your hand, you want to get them in there loosely, and trim them. So now, these wires are trimmed. Stick these wires in because we don't want them hanging around. And I will not install the lights until after I paint the vehicle. Okay. Once I finish wiring up the front end of the car on the right-hand side, we will then proceed to the rear of the car and wire up the fuel sender unit. We'll wire up the third brake light. We'll wire up the brake lights, the turn signals, and anything else that needs to be wired in the back of the vehicle, such as the remote entry, trunk, etc. So let me finish up on the right-hand side of this, and we'll get into the back of the car, get it wired up, then we go to the inside of the car.